Hey there, Powerhouse. I have a question for you. Are you ready to make 2025 your year? Are you ready to step into the boldest, most confident self and create a life and career that lights you up? If you're nodding along right now, then you cannot miss Unleashing You Live happening on Monday, February 3rd. This isn't your typical professional development event. Unleashing You Live is a day designed for ambitious women like you, a mix of fun, connection, mindset breakthroughs, and actionable strategies to help you create success on your terms. Here's what you'll experience: inspiring speakers who will share the real, unfiltered stories of how they built their success, workshops and coaching tools to help you uncover your next big steps, networking with powerhouse women who will cheer you on every step of the way, pop-up shops, a nourishing lunch, and a swag bag filled with goodies to fuel your journey. Whether you're on the corporate track, a business owner, or starting that side hustle, this event is for you. Now, for my VIPs out there, because I know you love a little extra sparkle, there's also an incredible VIP experience happening on Sunday, February 2nd, the day before the main event. This exclusive opportunity is designed to treat you like the VIP you are. Here's what's included: a sound bath session to help you tap into your intuition and feel like your best self, an exclusive penthouse social with me, our event speakers, and other VIPs. Think hot seat coaching, appetizers, drinks, and a breathtaking view of Denver. You'll receive exclusive VIP gifts and discounts, plus a private coaching call with me after the event to keep your momentum going. Of course, the VIP package already includes a ticket to the Unleashing You Live main event on February 3rd. Head to acrprofessionalcoaching.com or DM me on Instagram at AmandaRiffy_coaching to grab your ticket now. Whether you join us for the main event or elevate your experience with the VIP package, this is your chance to step into the room, shift your mindset, and create the success you deserve. The energy will be electric, the conversations will be game-changing, and you will leave ready to take on the world. So what are you waiting for? Hit pause, grab your ticket now. We can't wait to see you there. Welcome to Unleashing You. This podcast is your permission slip to create success your way. I'm your host, Amanda Riffy, a certified success coach and female business leader who has climbed her way up the corporate ladder. I've been through burnout and back and found the tools to bring fun and enjoyment to my career while creating powerful results and leading in a way that feels authentic to me. This show brings you conversations with women just like you who have created massive success for themselves and are doing it in their own way. We'll hear about their personal journeys of growing their career while still prioritizing the things they love most. If you are ready to be challenged and encouraged to reach your next level, then buckle up, sister, because the road to dreamy success begins here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Unleashing You. This is the third episode in the Ask Amanda series. And so I have Ashley back with me today to help facilitate the conversation. And we're going to be wrapping this up with some of your questions focused a little bit more on kind of the spiritual side, the woo side. I'm really excited because this is the stuff I just love talking about.
Yeah, when these questions came through, I was like, okay, these are like not the coaching and not the, how do I know what I need from coaching? But they were, like I said, the questions related to the woo.
Yeah, a little bit more of that softer side.
Which is like so good because I feel like all women have that, like that side where they're trying to like figure things out like in their own head internally. So
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
excited for this one. I think the questions are good, and I'm excited to kind of hear your answers to this as we go through it.
Yeah, because I think so often we spend a lot of time in our heads for sure, trying to think things through, trying to logic our way through things. And sometimes we need to do that. But when we're feeling lost or undecided on something, tapping into our body is usually a much better way to get a good answer. So I'm excited to see what we've got.
Okay. I hope people are sharing with you if they like this episode and these Ask Amanda questions, because they can always submit more and we could do this again sometime.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, so the first question. How do you embrace what the universe is showing or giving you, even if it makes no sense to me right now?
Ooh, oh my gosh, I could have written this question because I love it so much. Oh, this is so good. And like, I'm just going to tell the story that you and I were just talking about because we had a mini team meeting right before we hit record on this podcast. And I was updating Ashley on, things that have gone on this week in the business since we had our Monday call. I think this just plays so well into this question. So I am a huge advocate of trusting our intuition. And the intuition can sometimes not feel logical, but okay, here's how my intuition speaks to me. And it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but I'll just give you some examples. So there was a retreat. There's somebody else that was hosting a retreat, very on paper, we'll say, similar to my retreat. We're friends. We're not we're not competitors, right? So it was like really cool. Like, oh my gosh, I'm hosting a retreat. You're doing a retreat. How awesome. We were just sharing back and forth. And we had just finished up the Unleashing You retreat. It was perfect. It was magical. There was not a single thing I would have changed about it. It was maybe 2 weeks later from that. I had seen and her name's Sasha. I had seen one of Sasha's posts about her retreat. Again, I had seen a ton of those before. And there was something about this post. I couldn't even tell you what she talked about or what it was, but there was something about that post that I was like, I'm just going to DM her real quick and just get some info on this retreat. So I sent her a DM and I was like, hey, I'm actually thinking about participating in a retreat before the end of the year. Could you just send me some more info? She sent it over and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I literally just was on this very similar type of retreat. It's the end of the year. I don't need to be spending any more money, plus the calendar's already pretty full. Like, why am I trying to add another thing? Like, I was really just trying to logic my way through this. But for whatever reason, I DM'd her anyway. She sent over the info. I'm looking at it. Like, oh, this sounds really good. Like, there was a lot around money mindset, subconscious blocks, business strategy, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I feel like I want to go to this. And then my logical brain would kick in and be like, no, what are you doing? You said you weren't going to spend any more money, blah, blah. But I was like, okay, let me just sit with it for a little bit. And I found myself I kept looking at the page. I kept looking at the sales page. I kept rereading it again. And I was like, well, let me look at this teacher that's going to be there and let me listen to her podcast. It was filling my brain and all of my energy. It was all I could think about for probably the next 24 hours was should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? Should I not go? And I was literally standing there and, debating this in my head. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Amanda, you can't stop thinking about this. Just go. This means you should go. There's something there for you. So I went straight to my computer. I was like, yep, I'm in. Send me the things. Let's do this. And so I signed up. And even going into it, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to walk away with exactly, but I just knew there was something there for me. I could feel that pull. And the retreat was incredible. I happen to be wearing the sweatshirt from the retreat today, actually. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts now.
Well, and I can even remember when we were talking about kind of your calendar that coming up, and I was like, okay, do you really have time for this? Do you have time for this right now? I get it, you're going, but I even kind of questioned you for a second thinking okay, are you stretching yourself too thin right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for keeping me in check. Sometimes I do need that.
You're like, no, I got this.
This will be the reset that I need, I think. And I got there. It was so magical. I not only walked away feeling reinvigorated in my business, I walked away with whole new ideas for 2025 that weren't even on my radar before I left for the retreat. I really healed some stuff within myself. Like there was a lot of tears, a lot of emotions, a lot of healing. And then the connections that have come out of that retreat since then are just more than I could have asked for. I mean, we've got people who, are potentially speaking at Unleashing You Live. Steph, who is doing the merch for Unleashing You Live, I met at the retreat. Multiple pop-up shops that are at Unleashing You Live, I met at the retreat. The connections, the introductions, podcast guests, like so many things. My website's going to get an overhaul, and that was at the retreat. Like, I mean, the connections and the opening of doors that retreat has, that I've walked away with, is just huge. Like, I can't like that investment is paying for itself 10 times over already. And it's only been, since we're recording this, 2 weeks since I got back.
So what you're saying is when the universe...
I know, I'm just going
when
off.
the universe is giving us a sign, we should probably figure out what that is, but it's okay to kind of trust that intuition and take that leap of faith sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And anyone who knows the story of how I created the Unleashing You retreat was the exact same way. I was just sitting in the hot tub, was going to listen to a podcast. I did a whole podcast episode on this. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to that, they can. But there was just something in my head that was like, you don't need a podcast today. Just sit here in the silence. Just be. And I was like, okay, I don't know why I'm doing this, but whatever. And I just sat there, and it was snowing, and it was so magical, and it was so beautiful. And all of a sudden I had this idea, and it was like, you should host a retreat. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm in the middle. I'm about to launch this really big event for the first time. I cannot be doing a retreat right now. But the more I sat there, and I was like, I really want to introduce people to Colorado and the nature part of it and the mindset and all of that stuff. And that was how the Unleashing You retreat was born. It did not seem logical. The timing didn't seem like something I should be doing, but I ended up putting it together, launching it at Unleashing You Live, and got signups at the event that ended up being women who came to the retreat later on in the year. So, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours about different times I've trusted my intuition, and it's truly our North Star. If you can really lean into that and figure out how your intuition speaks to you, it's not going to steer you wrong.
This next question was actually one of my questions. And I put it because it was something that came up on that retreat. And it was kind of talking and learning about the difference between emotion and intuition, and learning kind of what that felt like and what that kind of looked like. Because I don't think that necessarily as women, we think about emotion, intuition. I don't know that everybody thinks of those as two separate things. So can you just how do we separate emotion from our intuition?
Ooh, I didn't know you did this question. This is so good.
I know you don't know the question, so I don't tell you anything before. I was like, wait, I have a question for this one. I just remembered that was such a big takeaway from that. And I think a lot of people said that weekend and commented on that emotion and, intuition, and figuring out and kind of toggling between the two, but understanding what the difference is and when to listen to one versus the other.
Yeah. And you even mentioned it too in your testimonial video. So I do know that was one of your big ahas. The way that I explain this is really your ego versus your intuition, because they are both serving a purpose, right? They are both within us, helping us make decisions and take action. And your intuition is like your higher self. So whatever you would consider that, whether it's your soul, whether it's your guides, whether it's just, a future version of you, God, whatever, that's really where your intuition comes from. So your intuition is always going to feel like it's coming from a place of excitement, love, joy, abundance. That's going to be at the heart of what that feels like. Your ego is, some people might call it your inner critic. It might be your subconscious, right? All of those types of things. your ego is essentially your fear. So your ego is there. And some people think of ego as like confident. Like, I feel like we use ego interchangeably for a lot of different things. It doesn't mean like, oh, my ego is so big that I like think I can do all these things. So your ego is your fear. And that's the stuff that's trying to keep you safe, usually, because you're about to do something unknown or you're about to do something new. And to your subconscious, your unknown is scary because your unknown could mean, there's a tiger about to jump out of the bushes at you. There's, something bad could happen. And so it's trying to keep you safe. What your ego will feel like is it will feel like decision based out of fear, out of scarcity, out of lack. And so that's the thing that's like, okay, yeah, I really want to do this. Oh, but can I do this? Is that really the right choice? I don't know. What if this happens? What if that happens? And so when you're really kind of struggling with a decision, I like to just get really quiet and really clear and figure out, okay, which choice is coming from that love, abundance, excitement? Which choice is coming from that fear, scarcity, and lack? And I personally love to lean into my intuition because I use that as my North Star. It hasn't steered me wrong yet. And I know when I have made decisions out of that fear or urgency or, kind of any of those types of things, it usually doesn't pay off for me in the long run. People are like, I should have trusted my gut. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. I wanted to interrupt for a brief moment to let you know that I am currently enrolling in one-on-one private coaching. If you are ready to go all in and see big results, this is for you. With my Transforming You option, we will spend 3 months together focused just on you. Working one-on-one in this capacity will skyrocket your growth beyond your wildest dreams. This is the deep inner work. We will dig into your goals, your dreams, the things that are holding you back, the things you didn't even know were holding you back. This is what will unlock that next level of you, whatever that might be. Maybe you want to step into that next promotion at work or grow your own business. Maybe you're longing for more balance between your career and your family. Or maybe you're unsure of what you're craving next and you want to find more clarity on your career and life direction. That's what we'll unpack together. No 2 sessions are alike. Plus, you'll have on-demand access to me throughout our entire time together. You will go through such a transformation as you step into the next era of you. This is the personal growth that takes years to accomplish on your own. So let's accelerate that and get you the results you're craving right now. Send me a message on Instagram or head to acrprofessionalcoaching.com to learn more. I'll also put the details in the show notes for you. Your road to dreamy success begins here. Now, back to the episode.
It was interesting because when I was going through the questions, there was one that kind of piggybacked right off of that one. And when you're talking about kind of that fear side, how do you get out of your own head and overcome that fear of change? What do you tell people is like kind of that first step to do that?
This one is a tough one because it's not a one size fits all. And the reason I say that is because there is a reason why you're not taking the action. Because probably logically what to do or strategy wise, oh, I know I should do this, but there's something that's stopping you from actually doing it. And what is stopping you are your limiting beliefs, it's your mindset. There's some story that you are telling yourself in those moments that is making you self-sabotage in those times. So I can't tell you what that is without being able to coach the person. but it's probably something based in that ego state, in that fear. So it might be,
And maybe it's just recognizing then the difference. Like maybe this person kind of wrote that in, not realizing the difference between the ego and the intuition. And now they're thinking, wait, I can balance that ego out and listen to my intuition. And that's how they overcome that fear. I think it was just as easy as I think so many people on the retreat kind of talked about that. Like I said, it was just kind of, we laugh and say, okay, there's a devil on one side of your shoulder and there's an angel on the other, but it's not really a devil and an angel. It's like an ego and an intuition. And it's like, you got to figure out not one is necessarily better or worse than the other. You just got to figure out the difference.
yes, yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I am grateful for all of it. I mean, because think about it, like if the fear literally does keep us safe in a lot of things, it stops us from driving 150 miles down, down the highway. It stops us from falling off of, the side of a mountain. It stops us from doing a lot of things that like, we are like, ooh, that's scary. We should not do that. That's unsafe.
Yeah, you're not saying don't ever listen to that side.
Right. But we're also in control of when we listen to it and when we don't, because it's like, thank you. I got this time though. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I got this. And yeah, so I think it's really working through some of those stories. So it could be, something around fear of being seen. It could be there's some money stories there of, I feel like if I don't work hard, I'm not going to have abundance. And I actually don't really want to, work 50 hours a week. So I'm just going to keep stopping myself from getting that money that I want. There's so many things subconsciously that are playing out for all of us that's where I think coaching actually is the best tool to be able to overcome and move through some of those things. Otherwise, you're just going to see yourself in the same cycle. That same lesson is going to continue to come up until we have learned the lesson.
You're going to love this last question because it really goes into a lot of things that you've got planned in 2025. So this person said, how do I know when to try again when I failed at a business idea before? So have a new business idea ready to kind of take that next step. Where do I find the confidence now?
Ooh, I love this so much because number one, I think we learn from every single one of our quote unquote failures. So whatever it is that is part of your story, it's going to be part of your journey, and it's probably going to help you in whatever is that next business. I think back, on my whole career, and if I hadn't done this, or if I hadn't learned this lesson, or if I hadn't had that job, like everything was setting me up for where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I'm doing now is setting me up for where I'm going to be next. So I'm number one, I don't know who this is, but I'm super glad that they are wanting to do something more, because so often we can just tell ourselves, oh, well, I'm not meant to be a business owner then, or I'm not meant to follow my dreams because that one didn't work out. And I don't believe that at all.
Also, I love that they were even like admitting, like that took courage just to say, hey, I did this before and it didn't work. How do I know when to do it again?
Yes, yes. So take those lessons, bring them into the next thing because they're part of your story. But I think the question was, how do you build that confidence to start again? And I love that you teased like, yeah, the 2020, because that's exactly where my head went
That's
to.
what I thought of as soon as I saw this question. I was like, wait,
Like, I got something for you, girl.
I know exactly what you need.
Yeah. So in 2025, I am launching a mastermind, and I have not done a mastermind before. I've participated in a lot of them, but this will be the first one that I'm actually launching. And the reason why I didn't do one before was because I couldn't figure out exactly which audience I wanted to design a mastermind for, because y'all know, like, I work with women in corporate, I work with business owners, I work with the side hustlers, and I wasn't sure exactly what mastermind I wanted to create. And it came to me while I was on that retreat that we were talking about, was somebody sparked an idea in me. And I was like, yeah, that's what I am feeling so called to do, is to create a mastermind for women who want to start and grow a business alongside their full-time job, their part-time job, whatever is the main, potentially moneymaker for them right now. And put these women in a space together. And I'm talking like no more than 6 women, where They all have similar dreams. They are all in, either they're just starting a business, have an idea, or they're, maybe 1 or 2 years into business, and surround them with, number one, each other. So they can have that same experience that I was just talking about of being able to, just feel so seen, open doors for each other, support each other, hold each other accountable. And then also have subject matter experts coming in. So we have somebody to come in to talk to us about how to make our businesses profitable. We have creative workshops. We have web design. We have all kinds of things that we need to know when we are starting a business and we want to make it successful. So I would say for this person or anyone else who's listening, if you know that 2025 is a year where you want to put your energy all into growing your own business. And when I say put your energy all in, I don't mean you have to go quit your job tomorrow. And that's the whole point. Like, you do not have to go quit your job tomorrow. Let's grow this alongside of it. But it's going to be a 6-month mastermind with this, exclusive community of women who get your dreams, want to support you. I'll be there to lead along the way. And then I think my favorite part of it is then at the end of that 6 months, we're going to get together for an in-person retreat. So those are going to be women that you will have cried with, laughed with, shared your dreams with, shared your fears with, bonded with over those 6 months. And then we're going to get together for an in-person experience that is just going to be so magical, so transformational. So if you are ready, like, honestly, to go and make this the year that you make your dreams happen, like, watch my Instagram because that is coming soon.
It was like that person that had that question was like, it was like they knew that you were having something. It made me think as soon as I saw that. And it was before you, I think, had even maybe finalized the masterclass. So I knew they didn't know anything about it. You hadn't said anything about it. But I was like, oh,
I know.
check. Got something for you.
Talk about that divine timing and your intuition, right? Because I've been having like free coaching session. You know how I offer those 30-minute free coaching sessions or quick coffee chats with women. And I kid you not, like, I do not say anything about it. They're talking about, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be perfect for this mastermind. And so then I tell them about, they're like, oh, can you please put me on the list for that? Because, like, it's crazy. And then the other thing that I'm launching towards the end of the year is going to be a retreat for writers, because I'm just so lit up right now about writing books and helping other women create their dreams. And the amount of people that are talking to me about the books that they are starting, the books that they want to write, like, trust your intuition, because again, like, these ideas, that's where they came from.
Amanda, it's like you're in touch with your viewers. You're in touch with the people that's just, it's cool. It's cool to think that there's stuff out there right now that you can help with that can kind of push them to the next level, or just to believe in themselves more, or like, there's just, if they realize there's somebody that can help them, sometimes it just takes somebody that can give you that extra push.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah. And I know in our next episode, we'll dive in a little bit more into what's in store for 2025, but I can't help myself when this is like literally, the podcast is like truth serum. Like, I can't, like, I just always just spill all the beans.
I can divulge everything.
All right. That was your last question, right? That we had for this one?
That was it.
Okay. Perfect. I just want to say, number one, thank you to you, Ashley, for facilitating this, organizing all of this stuff, because you did all of that.
I like to be your co-host.
And thank you to all of the listeners of this podcast. I am just so thankful.
And if people have questions, like, make sure they send those in, because it's really easy to throw in a question or have a Instagram live sometime and just answer some of those things.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee if one person has that question, there's probably 10 others behind them that have the same question.
You're so right. Yeah. So even if we're not doing an actual series like this, always send the questions. And I think that's a great point. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We've got one more episode to go in 2024. I can't believe it. We are in full planning mode for 2025. And it's gonna be a leveling up year. So Ashley, I hope you're ready for all the things we got.
I'm excited. Bring on 2025.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you'd like to continue this conversation, connect with me on Instagram and say hello. You can find me at AmandaRiffy_coaching. In the meantime, if you know you are ready to step into the next incredible version of you and want to completely accelerate your personal and professional growth, let's work together. I offer one-on-one private coaching as well as workshops and in-person events. There's really something for everyone. To learn more, visit my website at acrprofessionalcoaching.com or send me a DM on Instagram and start a conversation. And don't worry, I truly want all of us to succeed. So I promise I will never steer you wrong. Let's create a career and life you love. Chat with you again soon.